2008. I was sitting in my living room very late at night playing Luigi's Mansion. After messing around in the main menu, I stumbled onto the options screen by accident, where I read the words that would change my life forever. View a Pikmin movie. I was immediately sucked into this trailer, and I would watch it over and over again. It was such a strange, entrancing looking game that I'd never seen anything like. Keep in mind, I was 8 years old. I didn't know the game was already out. With very little contact with the internet until my teen years, I had no way of knowing these things without asking my school friends or reading magazines on the shelf at stores. You see, it's kind of funny, because I'd often ask my classmates at school during recess if they'd ever heard of this Pikmin. Now, I grew up with Xbox and PlayStation friends, so obviously they didn't know and they didn't care. But that mystique never really went away. Flash forward to roughly 2011, 2012, and I'm on YouTube watching Wario videos, and I get recommended Cheka Conroy's Let's Play of the original game. Instantly, memories just flooded back into my head, and I realized I wasn't the only one who'd ever heard of this series. I would grow to learn about the history, lore, mechanics, characters, all thanks to either watching videos or reading the wiki. Now, the Pikmin franchise, and I say that word very lightly, is one of my favorite things to ever exist. I'm pretty much a die-hard fan. These games are very personal to me. Okay, now for those of you who don't know anything about it, let me explain some backstory. Pikmin was released in 2001 to a unanimous what? Especially since it had to compete with Super Smash Bros. Melee, seeing as how they both came out on the same day. I think you understand which one came out on top. It was Miyamoto's pet project, and is basically as precious and important to him as Super Mario is. He badly wanted this game to succeed, which is why the trailer was in their newest Mario game on their newest system. That's why it had 2 different unlockable trophies in Melee, which makes me firmly believe that without his influence, we may never even have gotten this series. You're Captain Olimar, a space explorer and the best employee of Hocotate Freight on a space vacation. But it doesn't go as planned, because Olimar accidentally crashed into a meteor that his ship, the SS Dolphin, couldn't detect on its radar. As a result, he crashes down on an unknown planet with 30 of his ship's parts gone missing. And on top of that, he only has 30 days before his emergency life support system fails and he succumbs to the planet's poisonous oxygen. Things are not going well for this very little guy. But all hope isn't lost as he very quickly encounters the Pikmin. Pikmin, named after his favorite Pick brand carrots, are little plant animal dudes that live in a Hocotate onion-shaped ship. They start off as leaves, but by drinking precious nectar, or sitting in the ground, they mature from leaf to bud to a blooming flower known as the Sutera cordata, or Bacoba cabana. The Pikmin are fiercely loyal, if not bumbling creatures, that view Olimar as sort of a parental leader type figure. With the help of the Pikmin, Olimar must travel to 4 different areas to find all of his lost ship parts and escape the planet. From there, the story transitions to primarily gameplay, with the only dialogue being Olimar's notes at the end of each day, or a little tutorial message when something new happens. The game opens up as soon as you get to the first area, meet other types of Pikmin, and find the best ways to save your ship. There's red Pikmin, which have the strongest attack stat and are immune to fire, yellow Pikmin, which can be thrown the highest, and carry dangerous bomb rocks, and blue Pikmin, which can travel through water with ease. The areas you travel through all have unique obstacles and enemies that you'll need to get through if you want to get out of here and go home. The real challenge of Pikmin, though, is seeing how much you can accomplish in just one day. It is a real-time strategy game, after all. Each day in Pikmin lasts about 13 minutes, so it's up to you to plan your route accordingly. You prioritize raising your numbers, battling enemies, clearing pathways for revisits, or do you try to go after your ship parts ASAP?
The choices are yours and yours alone.
Now, I know I'm making it sound really cool and fun, but there are some parts where unfortunately you can't do anything but wait. Whether it's waiting to tear down a wall, waiting to build a bridge, waiting to carry something back to base. Waiting is never fun, especially not here where every second counts. If you want to raise your number of Pikmin, you can either take these color-coded pellets back to each Pikmin's onions, which you should never mix by the way, or you can battle the many ferocious, sometimes unfair monsters and take their corpses back for a much better payday. The 4 main areas are all balanced accordingly and have their own look and feel. The Forest of Hope is a calming wooded area, but the music gives you a slight sense of unease. Like you're walking through the woods, but have that overwhelming fear that something could pop out from behind a tree. The Forest Navel is dark and foreboding, with many closed-off paths that you have to spend all day breaking down for shortcuts. It's also full of these f***ing assholes known as the Shearwigs and Sheargrubs. These guys, because the AI in this game isn't that great. It means certain actions take priority when they really shouldn't. You know what that means, right? It means if they had a Pikmin in their mouth, they'll still eat them even if you've already killed them. Their death is a lower priority than their last meal, and I hate them. But then, there's the distant spring, which is full of puffy blowhogs, which deflower your Pikmin, making them slow as shit. They also constantly hover and float around the much more dangerous foe, being the spotty bullbear. You know Bulborbs, right? The main Goombas of the series. These terrifying beasts are their coked-up cousins that can devour dozens of Pikmin with a single bite. The distant spring is easily the largest area in the game, full of water and wide open spaces, along with Wollywogs! I hate these creatures with a fiery passion, because they're the perfect enemy. They prey on your lack of patience, because you want to rush them down and beat them to death. Oh, but that's what they want! They want you to do that, because they can leap in the air and crush anything beneath them. Their leaping and crushing also takes priority over their death, so it's like one last middle finger to my progress as they descend directly to hell. But no enemy or area is as terrifying as what I'm about to tell you. This is easily the most frustrating, anger-inducing feature that will have you rip your hair out. You know how this game is all about micromanaging and commanding different types of creatures? Well, there's no dedicated switch button, which means you have to dismiss everyone and individually whistle at the specific color you want to use. That makes no sense! How could such a glaring oversight get in? I'm always hoping that in vain, if I tap the D-pad just enough times, it'll magically switch types. But you want to know what's really funny? In the Force Naval, or last area of the game, if you throw your yellow Pikmin that are holding bomb rocks on a ledge, which is required to do, mind you, and you whistle them back, as you would in any other situation where you throw your Pikmin and need them to come back to you, they'll drop the bomb rock and it explodes! These horrific problems are all wholly unique to the original GameCube release of Pikmin. The new Play Control version of the Wii does in fact have a dedicated swap button, along with fixing various other bugs. I don't even find the traditional analog controls of the original to be a problem, they're just fine to me. But those issues almost make the original unplayable. So, play the Wii version for a more advanced aiming, control, widescreen, bug fixes, and really the definitive Pikmin 1 experience. Got a little lightheaded there. In every area, once you collect a specific amount of parts, the dolphin can expand its range and the next level opens up. Once you unlock 29 of the 30 parts, you unlock the final trial, the ultimate test of your Pikmin knowledge, which has you split all three types to work towards building a bridge where the final boss awaits. The bosses in this game are treated no different than your average enemy is. There's the beady Longlegs, which shows up and can stomp your Pikmin to death with its long legs, 3 burrowing Snaggarts, which can eat your squad and pop in and out of the ground, don't spawn all 3 at once, the Puffstool, which I don't really know if it counts because it just kind of waddles around, but it'll occasionally indoctrinate your Pikmin to fight against you, the Gulix and the Mamuda, who are optional, nearly harmless bosses that show up on certain days back in your initial crash area. Then, there's the Smoky Prog. This abomination is only available before day 15, so if you really want to pick a fight with it, you got a large window. Supposedly this thing is a baby Mamuda, but I don't know. Break its egg in the distant spring and watch as it slowly crawls back to your base, lets out a scream that instantly drags any sleeping Pikmin out of the ground, of whichever onion it's standing under, and it also instantly kills anything that attacks from behind. But what awaits you at the final trial is worse than any of those beasts. All throughout the game, you've hunted and killed dozens of Bulborbs. Now it's time for the king to take his revenge for the fallen! The Emperor Bulblax is your last opponent, and he's no pushover. For starters, you can only hurt him by using bomb rocks to stun him, for a very short window, mind you, where you can wail on him with the reds. If you run out of bomb rocks, you're pretty much screwed, so you might as well end the day there. Though once you dethrone him, he withers away, dropping a bounty of pellets that you won't really need anymore since you're at the end of the game. But hey, at least you won. With one final goodbye, Olimar boards his newly rebuilt ship and blasts away home with the Pikmin looking fondly at their leader. With his teachings, they've learned independence and can now fend for themselves, which we'll grow to see in later installments. I think Pikmin is a truly special game, unlike any other game I've played if I'm being straight with you. This game has an atmosphere that is unmatched by any of its sequels. That's helped a lot by the music. I already mentioned the Forest of Hope. The entire soundtrack really puts you in a specific mood. There being little to no dialogue really boosts that atmosphere, which really makes you feel isolated. While I think the later entries outclass this game in almost every single aspect, I think the tone of this one isn't matched and helps to make the original a class of its own. So while it suffers heavily from first game syndrome and has a variety of serious issues, Pikmin is a very special game, and I think everyone should try it. But of course, play the Wii version if you can manage to track down a copy. Show Nintendo that this little pet project has the potential to become a main staple in their immense library.